Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this interview. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with the menopause guru, Jeanne for her 25th interview. And we're going to talk all about inspired action today. So welcome, Jeanne.
Hi, Cassie.
How are you?
I am fantastic today.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about what's awesome.
What's awesome? It is full on late spring in Louisiana, and crawfish are boiling, and my pool is open, and my yard is getting yard work done, and a new fence, and it's all just going fabulously.
Awesome. Do you have your manifest? You have had one manifest total in the past, and you started a new list just as everything.
I started a new list.
So do you have that total handy?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. It's a little over 12,000 for the month of April.
We can play with that. We don't need the exact number.
$12,108.
Awesome. I love it. All right. And so when you saw that for a month, how did it feel?
It has felt amazing. It feels, we go back to, I'm the person who broke the law of attraction a long time ago. And to see myself walk down a path where that was 1 month's total. And honestly, with everything that's been going on, that doesn't have any business income. So that was just all manifested in various places from my husband's pockets. As I've said, I get all the laundry change, and it all goes on that list. So when my husband leaves $2 or $3 in his pocket, or a penny in his pocket, it goes on the list. It goes in my bowl for manifestation, to rebates on some things, to saving a huge chunk of money because somebody screwed up an order. So I wound up getting it for 50% off, to turning in some stuff and not having to pay as much for cell phone and cable service. So it's been just a tremendous different set of money coming in. And when I look at it, it's like, wow. And some of it I could have gotten a few more months of that savings, but it's been awesome to just realize that.
Yeah. What kind of pressure does that take off your business? Or how has that changed the way you view money in your business and coming in from your business when you have a total of over $12,000 in just a month? From not business, from not, getting 10 new clients or this or that, right?
Not business. Right. Yeah. So that's been just this incredible amount of knowing that things can just move on. I mean, and I will admit, let's just kind of frame this, because I know this is going to be broadcast much later. This is the big COVID shutdown month. Nobody's, quote, doing anything.
Absolutely.
I've manifested $12,000 this month. So, I haven't had to pressure clients. I haven't had to
set your price
something.
because
I haven't had to do anything other than, I don't have to say, if I wanted to, I could offer something for less to be good to people, or I could say, this is what it costs, and if you want it, you can pay. We can figure a way to get you to pay for that, or I could simply say, if you can't pay for it, that's okay, because I can manifest money in a whole different way.
That's amazing. When was the last time you felt like there was no pressure on your business, if ever?
I did something really silly. If you look at it, in 2008, I quit a six-figure job in working for Oracle Corporation as a high-end technical consultant, and walked into my own business as a personal trainer. I started doing training and running coaching, and I'd say 3 weeks into it, the stock market crashed and the real estate market crashed. And I looked at myself and said, this may not have been the best idea you've ever had, or at least your timing sucks. But in all those years, things have worked out, and the universe has taken care of me. And I live where I want to be right now. And so when I think about it, it felt like a lot of struggle for all those years.
I mean, it's 12 years, right?
And that is a lot of years. Yeah. Yeah. So it's felt like a lot of struggle. It's felt like there wasn't a lot of ease, a lot of just being in my business and being the person I wanted to be. And this month, and it started with me being ill and trying to recover. And by the way, whatever flu was going around was really also pretty nasty. And I really wasn't able to just sort of come to the table the way I wanted to. And this has given me this wonderful period of almost 2 months of being able to relax and say, now who do I want to be in my business? And for the first time, I'm looking at, and I actually said,
wow, how did that feel?
That felt amazing. I mean, what it said to me was, I am in the position where I can be what I want to be in my business, and I can walk away from it when I want to walk away from it. Now, that doesn't mean if I say to a client, I'll do something for them, that I haven't made a commitment to them. That's, but I can decide before I make a commitment to 1 new client or 5 new clients next month, this month, whatever it turns out to be. I can say, do I want 5 clients and 5 new clients in my life? What is that going to mean to my ability to do my life? And I can take that and say, I'm semi-retired. And I wrote some future self stuff in the last couple of days where I'm looking at myself as fully retired, or only doing stuff that someone calls and says, do you want to do a speech, or do you want to accept this award or this doctoral degree or whatever. I have that place in my head 5 and 8 and 10 years from now.
Yeah. How does that, does it feel like a weight's been lifted? Does it feel like there's this wide open space? Like, most of the time when I say feel, I make you pick a feeling word, but this time you can pick a feeling word, but you could also use a metaphor. You could say it feels like.
One of the things that I've noticed in the last few months since Jesse started working part-time, he started taking 1 day off a week. And I've noticed that I need more space, more time when he's at home, to be present with him, to do something with him, whether that pre-COVID, it might have been going out golfing. Now it's working on the fence. But I need that space for him. And I know he's going to need to keep cutting back, because he does a physical job and he's 65. So we're at the point now where we're starting to pull back, and it feels spacious and good and loving and present, and
yes,
the way I want life to be.
And how good does that feel? Because your life, so Jesse's been home, but there's been moments in the last couple of years where he's been home or went part-time for certain reasons for a little bit along the way, right? I think. And so how does this feel different because it's very much the same life. It's just the person living the life who's different.
Yes. And I would get to the end of the day, he'd be home. And even when he first started this, this has been going on since October, I guess. And even when he first started it, and he'd be home all day on Wednesday, and I'd get up in the morning on Wednesday, and I'd do a couple hours of work, and then I'd turn the rest of the day over to him. And there'd be this little hint of either resentment or guilt. So mostly it was guilt. It was telling myself that I should have done more today. I should have written another email. I should have written another post or done a video or whatever. I did reschedule my life so that I didn't have clients on the days he was home if I could, because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But I would resent it a little bit, but I would also feel guilty about it especially if we went and did something like golf, which I really love to do, and it would be fun. And then I would say, but you should have stayed home and gotten that done. And then the next day I would be beating myself up, so I wouldn't actually do twice as much.
Right.
Which I always believed I could do. So I'd get further and further behind where my brain said I should be. And this is so much different because now I'm allowing myself to say, and this has very much been the inspired action we've talked about, and I'm very much been letting myself say, what is it that you want to say? What is aching to come out of your body? What words are aching to come out of your mouth to the people that you'd like to talk to? And so I'll sit down to write them. And if I find I'm forcing them, I have a tendency just to throw the whole thing over and say, okay, when they're ready to come out, they will. And I've actually gone through, I think, about 3 iterations of what it is I really want to say. And right now I'm writing the email to my list that says, it's confession time. I've been out of balance. I haven't been living my own truth, my own balance, my own alignment. I know how to do it, and this is why I haven't been doing it. So I want to tell you, first of all, be kind to yourself. Don't force yourself. And hopefully, this will allow me to start living the life that gets me back in balance, back in alignment with, and when I say balance, I don't mean just emotional, just physical, just mental, just spiritual, but hormonal balance too. So all 5 of those things are actually happening to me. I know where I'm out of balance. I know what to do to get
yes.
back in balance.
Oh my goodness. That's such a perfect segue. I have so many things I want to talk about. But the first one, my question was going to be, I know you would tell your people not to shit on themselves, but were you consciously aware of how much you were shitting on yourself? Right? If I had asked or somebody had, like, let's say you'd gone to a conference and somebody said, oh, raise your hand if you shit on yourself more than 5 times a day. Right? Right?
No, my hand wouldn't have
right.
Because I know better than to shit on myself.
Yes.
I know better than that. But yet I was still throwing this guilt my way about my business, about my exercise, about my eating, about my my drinking, my partying. And when I say that,
it's more of a way of life. Yeah.
This is New Orleans. The party level is higher. It's higher than in most. The parties per capita is higher than in most places. Mm-hmm. But I'm not an excessive partier. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot I love about the life here, and so I should on myself about I'd go do Mardi Gras, and Mardi Gras actually takes a month and a half here. And I take the month and a half, and then I get up in the morning on a Wednesday or a Thursday during Mardi Gras season, and I'd say, I got to get my work done. I got to get my work done before the weekend so I can go to the parades. And then I would start to do my work, and it wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't be real. And it would, we would talk it through, and I'd throw it out.
With an added layer of guilt and frustration and right. Right. You're right. I should already know this. I should have it down. I should. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be going through this again. I shouldn't. I should be able to get up and just write this. I've been doing this for years, and yet I wasn't. And part of it was I wasn't accepting that I was out of balance. I wasn't accepting that that comes, that there are cycles in life, and sometimes sometimes you just need to go gain a fence. Sometimes you need to take the afternoon off and go play golf. Wish my golf course were still open, but sometimes you have to realize that life takes precedence over business and anything else other than a solid commitment you've made. Like I said, when I commit to a client, that's a whole different story. If somebody calls me, I'm there, and we set up time to work on their menopause survival. I'm there. That's the easy part. Doing my work is the easy part. Telling people what I do and how I
manage the thing you're getting better at
is the hard part for me.
That's the story we're going to keep telling, right? But in the past, it has been the harder part, right? And and it's sort of taken over.
Yes.
The figuring it out. And we've come a long way. And almost 3 months ago so we're recording this on May the 4th be with you. And on May 18th, it will be 90 days since basically what I'm going to call an action detox, which turned into a should detox and a guilt detox and a shame detox, right?
Yes. And hopefully by May 18th, we'll have turned into a solid
And
road back to my balance.
Right. It's okay to have the detour, right? It's when we start traveling to Texas, and we went to go to Montana. Like that's a totally different, right? Like we're not even in the same vicinity. It's not like I got off to see, on the way as driving as a kid, there's like the world's largest prairie dog. It's not that kind of detour. It's the hugest detour, right? But and it was necessary to put that on, right? So while we've gotten better, and I think you would agree, like you are 1,000 times better at writing an email than you were. But the thing that wasn't good is that it still had that energy of pushing your business forward, right? And so in order to really get that, like your foot completely off the gas pedal, we had to say no more action that isn't inspired. And that includes working weekly on emails. That includes like setting things up. That includes all the things that actually we did that got us to that place. right? That had helped you grow to that moment. It all needed to change.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Which is awesome.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the world changed. Halfway through this, the world just decided it didn't want to be the same world it was. And then in a lot of ways, it's very much in alignment. It's almost, very much in alignment.
Yeah. Well, I think you're in alignment, right?
Alignment.
So you could have still had the pedal on the gas when the world went.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Right.
All over my Facebook feed and all of my email. It's like
you're at home, so you have to get all of this done instead of just relaxing or just, it's okay to maintain if you're all of a sudden you're trying to be you're trying to be everything to everyone. You don't also have to do all these other things. Or if you do have the time, you don't have to write the book. You don't have to do all these things. You could just be and reconnect with yourself and do all these things. Right. And
there's so many emotions coming out for so many people about this that they're, for me, the three predominant ones have been interesting because they've been guilt, anger, and fear around this because it's a weird world. And I'm finally sort of starting to figure out how those fit into who and what I am right now and how to handle them, how to control them, how to get them back in balance with the happy and the confident and the joy.
Yeah. And I credit you saying, okay, I will take the action detox, because had you got to this moment in the world where like you very easily could have, oh, I'm just going to get more done. I'm going to get that. We're going to get the podcast out. We're going to get all this. I should get all this stuff done. I can't go play golf. So I should. And you would have missed the emotions. You would have missed all that. You would have missed the opportunity to manifest over $12,000 in a month and the fence that you wanted, right? Which I don't think we've talked about the fence. And maybe that's a good segue to talk about that and kind of tie it back in. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because when did we say about the fence? And maybe we did mention it a little last. I think so. Yeah.
It came up in January. And yeah, it's been a while. It was either December or January. And I live in a house that's about 40 years old. And I live in Louisiana, as I've mentioned many, many times, but the weather here is hard on wood. Wood takes a beating. So we have a privacy fence that goes all the way around our backyard, keeps our dogs in, keeps people out of our pool, blah, blah, blah. And it was put up 40 years ago, and it needed badly to be redone. So in January, I started looking for somebody to come and do it for us. And normally I would say I'll do it myself, but my husband and I kind of said, let's see what it would cost to get somebody to come and do it. And the first guy wanted an incredibly crazy amount to do it. And the second guy asked what the first guy said, and he said, okay, we'll cut a couple thousand off. So we were then at $15,000. And then I got a third guy to come and tell us. And his price was actually fairly reasonable. But
well, before that, you intended, right?
Started. And my husband, yeah. Oh, there's a piece of this that I have to say. Yeah. So in January, I started talking and complaining about these outrageous prices. And you said, let's just intend that by the end of spring, this fence will be done, and you don't even have to know how it's going to be done. So when things started contracting, and we started being at home more, and we started not being able to go out and do stuff on the weekends or go to restaurants and all. I said to my husband, why don't we just do some of this ourselves? If we need to, we can hire the rest of it done. And
right? But first, yeah.
We were saving for not going out. Not going golfing, not going golfing, and not going restauranting, and not doing this and not doing that, and all of this $12,000 that we manifested, which is actually there's more to it than that, than just not going to restaurants and stuff. And I looked up and
you found that first before you knew how you were going to pay for it. This is important for the story. And I want people to hear that. Yeah. You found the 0%, right? That was inspiration. You found that and you said, oh, okay. Like, which is cool. Cause it's like, oh, I bought myself 6 more months for the universe to figure it out, you know? And in the meantime, then you're like, oh, here's the money to pay for that because we're not going out. We're not doing this.
So, it's been 2 months. I'm paying off half of it this week. And then on top of that, we rented a trailer to bring the first batch of stuff home, and we said, this sucks. It was a lot of work. It was tiring. It was hot. It was a lot of work. I was still recovering at the time, so it felt even worse. So I said, I'm going to order the second batch to be delivered, the second batch of wood to be delivered. Well, it got completely screwed up, just completely screwed up. And so they comped us a truck. They paid for us to hire our neighbor to help us offload. We had to go pick it up. We used a day to do that, but we saved half of the money on the second batch of wood that came in. So instead of costing the $17,000 the first guy told us it was going to cost, the whole thing is going to come in under $15,000.
Amazing. Oh, and you would have still had to paint, right?
This will be a fully painted. We would have still had to paint, and this is going up with the outside of the fence, which means that I don't have to go into my neighbor's yards to paint the fence. It's going to be painted on all sides. It will weather better. We will never have.
That's amazing. So how does it feel to have just set the intention and let it happen?
I actually could say, except that we would have never hired the $17,000 guy. I could say I've manifested $15,500. Out of this, but really more like 4,000
which is a lot, right? Any money out is money out, right? And so any money that you're not paying out is awesome.
Right.
Yes. And how does it feel for it to just sort of be taken care of? And also I feel like it's a fun project. It's been fun for you and Jesse. It's been something together. It's taught you a lot of other lessons along the way, or given you opportunity to practice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And when I talk about doing projects, I grew up with a dad who loved to putter around the house, to do stuff around the house, to build stuff. And I was his little mini me. So this is stuff that I've loved doing since I was 6. Playing with wood, playing with tools. I've been a tool person all my life. So it does feel, when I've talked about my feeling right now is confident, and competent is one way that I feel confident. And doing all of this stuff, saving all of this money, making this fence look so incredible, it has been an awesome feeling. So, sometimes one day I remember a couple of years ago, I posted when our plumbing went out, and I had to crawl under the house and fix dripping plumbing in the middle of winter. And you said, that doesn't look like fun. That doesn't look like the person you want to be.
Yeah.
And you didn't understand that I really do get a tremendous kick out of being the person who can do that, who doesn't have to call a plumber, who doesn't have to wait 3 or 4 or 5 days or weeks for the plumber to show up
Absolutely.
and fix my plumbing, that I can just do it. So fencing, plumbing, wiring.
Yeah. So how does it feel to have had this experience where it just showed up?
Oh, it's incredible. It really is incredible. I feel, like I said, happy, confident, joyful, excited. Just knowing that it's completely, it's done.
It's as good as done, right? Yeah.
It's not done. It's done. It's a done deal. And that we're enjoying. I mean, I admit at the end of the day, it's like, give me a beer, jump in the pool. I'm sick of doing this, but it's a good way for us to spend that time together and to feel like we're accomplished.
And so we have been, there's different activities where we focus on activating certain feelings. And you mentioned right now is confidence. And so how have you, because you took an action detox, which decrease the shoulds. So how has that allowed you to get the most juice out of this confidence activator of the fence?
One thing it's allowed me to do, I'm a planner. We have to go through this periodically, you and I, and get rid of them. But I'm also a calculator. So when if I'm running or I'm doing something that's like doesn't take all my attention, I'm usually calculating something in my head or planning something in my head. So I'll be doing, 16 boards equals 8 feet. We've got 32 boards done today. That's, and that's 16 feet, and the fence is 260 feet around. That means that we'll be done on May 11th. If, and that just goes around and around in my head. And then I put those shoulds on myself and on Jesse. And what I realized about about 2 days into this was I was shoulding on both of us. And I said, get done what you get done. If you need to take the day off, if it's raining, if it's too hot to work, if you just need to get into the pool earlier, don't leave the hole in the fence because the dogs get out. But it was a matter of saying we have until we have to get this done. And so it's been this wonderful ability to see that it'll get done when it gets done, and yet it's getting done in roughly the same amount of time.
Which is awesome, right? I'm actually going to love when I hear like, oh, it magically got done really, really close to the original date.
Yeah, I kind of, and if it doesn't, it's no big deal because it's what it is. And it's really changed our dynamic too, because we don't just sit around watching TV or something on the weekends. We go out and we work on the fence. And this weekend should have been Jazz Fest. Now there's a should have happened. But it was Jazz Fest, so we threw on the local radio station, which was playing old Jazz Fest sets. And so we did what they call here festing in place and listened to Jazz Fest and worked on the fence.
I love that. And so how is your confidence growing because it's not being diminished by the shoulds? Or the should have, because in the past, you might have got all this done. It might have been really fun. And in the back of your mind, kind of coming back to the beginning of the interview, it would have been, but I should have been writing 10 emails instead of doing the fence.
Or I should have should have been done in 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. There were, so I think my expectations more than my confidence have changed. My expectations of myself, that It's okay.
Yes, that's huge. But do you think it's also allowed you to, how do I want to put it up? And the answer doesn't have to be yes, but it's like if we had a cup and you could get 100 milliliters of confidence from the fence, right? Because it's something that checks your confidence boxes, right? And activates that feeling. But do you think in the past when you shoulded on it, both because of expectation, but also because of work? And what's really cool is you might be so far past this from work that you're not even catching what I'm saying, but like it would like empty the bucket, right? It might fill it up, but then the shoulds are like dumping it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's allowing you to get all the juice, which means you have to do less to build that or to feel the confidence, right? Because if you fill a cup, right. But that's okay. But less
to build the fence.
Like you don't have to do as many things. The fence, it doesn't have to be the fence and this other confidence activator and this other, because it's not like you're filling a glass and then dumping half of it out and expecting to quench your thirst. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I know we've been doing the morning
assignments. Yeah.
Activity. What do you call assignments? Calls during this. And it's interesting because the last few days when we started and you would ask what's awesome. And I had to think up a thing, something really concrete. I found a penny, or I manifested this much money, or so-and-so is called last night, or I talked to my grandson on the phone. And what I've noticed is maybe the last week, you ask what's awesome, and I just say today.
Mm-hmm. When is the last time in your life you said that, other than Mardi Gras season? Right? Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's, and there's nothing particularly awesome happening today. It's a Monday.
Well, it's not that there's anything particularly awesome, but what isn't happening goes back to the shoulding. There's no should, there's no guilt. There's nothing diminishing that natural joy that comes from this life, because you created your life very much even before, like, even though you think you broke the law of attraction, you very much created your life. You wanted to live in Louisiana. You have the house you love. You have a pool you love. You have a gorgeous backyard. You have your dogs. You have your husband. You created a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't think you've ever fully enjoyed like the today of them, because they was always toned down. The volume was always toned down because it was the shoulds, the guilt, the shame, I should do this, but I feel like I want to do this. All the things were lessening your ability to feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. How is this going to change this next? Obviously it's going to be this is going to support you getting everything in balance, right?
Yes.
The things that you mentioned, the things that you work with your clients on, right? Mm-hmm. And as that happens, what do you see as next, or what are you excited about?
I'm excited about feeling better, and that's physically. A lot of this has taken a toll physically on me, because I'm not in balance and I'm not taking care of myself the way I know how to do. And I've been looking in the last, probably since the last week or so, and saying, you get such great results for your clients. Some of them lose a lot of weight. Some of them just simply feel better. Some of them, get rid of all their symptoms. Some of them do all three of those. And I know how to do all that stuff. And I just haven't been doing it with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to the way that makes my body feel, because I know what it makes my body. And it's just going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. And honestly, it doesn't have to take long. It doesn't take long. I love it. If I'm going to lose all the weight I'd like to lose, that I've gained back, maybe that'll take a few weeks. But feeling better, what I do with my clients in that first 5 weeks, feeling better, facing the world differently, that doesn't take long.
This is the easiest I've ever heard you talk about that.
It's so easy. Yeah.
For real. I mean, when it comes to you talk about it easy for your clients, right? But this is a totally different conversation than I've heard in the last 2 years about your own body and health and fitness and how you feel and all of those things. This is way different. Yeah, which is awesome. I love it. Anything else you want to say about action detox or shooting detox or anything like that? Or being open to it just happening?
I think we've kind of covered it. It's been a really interesting week. There've been times in this. I think the thing I need to say is you need to be able to feel all the feels. We've talked about that before. We've talked about feeling the negatives. There have been a number of negatives this week. Do
you think you were listening before?
But those were deeper and different, more different. When we were talking about some of the stuff that accompanies me back to childhood and all of that stuff, that wasn't what this was. This is different. This is more recent. But this is also my expectations of myself that I had to realign, and the expectation that I could do everything without bothering to really think about it. I knew. Sure.
That was your expectation.
I don't have to think about not eating sugar. I just know I shouldn't eat sugar. Oh, wait. I'm sitting here eating chocolate. And by the way, chocolate is very good for you. Not necessarily over-sugared chocolate.
Well, tell people if they...
Okay.
So tell us where people can connect with you. They want to hear more.
I am the Menopause Guru, and you don't have to use the when you find me on Facebook. And on my site, menopause.guru. If you forget that it doesn't have a .com after it, you can just go to menopauseguru.com and it'll send you over, and I will tell you more about realigning and rebalancing yourself, because I'm writing it now and it'll be done when it's done. I was going to say shortly, but
awesome. when it's done, when it's ready, right? I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeanne, for taking this moment to share with us about your journey and all of the amazing things that happen.
Sharing this stuff always brings it more sharply into focus for me.
It's awesome. It's part of the reason why I do this. For you guys who are brave and share, and also those of you who are listening, because I'm sure you got more than one thing out of this interview. So make sure to come back and check out Jeanne's next interview, and have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction, Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.